I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
If you ever heard what a Lewinsky is, you know. Let me move on. I digress. To freak or not to freak? That is the question. Today on Pause, we're going to talk about office sex. Is it something that you should engage in? Is it something that I have engaged in? How hard is it to concentrate when she working long hours next to you? Pause. What exactly is office sex? I define office sex as having any sort of relations with somebody that works in the same office as you. Now, that could be two people working at UPS and, one is the truck driver, one signs and delivers the packages. It could be, President Clinton back in the day with Monica Lewinsky. Technically, she was his intern, but, intern. He got a little presidential treatment, if you know what I'm saying. If you ever heard what a Lewinsky is, let me move on. I digress. Should you be engaging in office sex? Maybe. If both parties can keep their mouth shut. My problem is people want to tell every secret nowadays. Nothing is sacred anymore. So if I tell my homeboy, let's just say his name is Bill. If I tell Bill that I'm smashing Susan, next thing you know, Bill going to tell Tom, Tom going to tell Andre, Andre going to tell Daquan, Daquan going to tell Sierra, Sierra going to tell Siani, Siani going to tell Isha, and Isha going to end up telling Susan. So at the end of the day, it came back to Susan that I was smashing Susan, and Susan already know I was smashing Susan because I was smashing Susan. So why the hell Susan got to know that I'm smashing Susan when I've been smashing Susan? And then when HR find out, it could be a whole nother problem. You open up a whole can of worms and you might get your ass canned in the process. So if y'all can keep your mouth shut, maybe. If y'all are serious about each other or trying to take the next step, then yes. But if it's just a little sneaky freaky deaky and both of y'all loudmouths, save yourself the trouble. Don't do that shit. It's going to cause more harm than good. Have I ever had office sex before? Well, if I tell you, then I'd have to kill you.
Oh, kill him. Oh, kill him. Oh.
But for real, I've had my share of office sex in the past before. I think back to my early 20s. When commission checks were through the roof, I was working as a bill collector. The economy was great. Times were amazing. And I was in a throuple. Yes, a throuple. It wasn't necessarily a relationship, but, I was smashing two best friends. I don't think they knew I was smashing both of them until later on. And it kind of caused, a rift in the relationship, in the friendship. None of us are friends anymore. One of them was younger. She was about 19 or 20. I think I was about 22, 23. And the other one was older. She was about 30. At that time, I felt like she was a cougar. I used to call her my little Lex Cougar, my Freddy Cougar, you know what I'm saying? It got a little spooky sometimes with me and her, but she was fine like some vintage wine. Shorty was definitely a dime. But I digress. My larger point, don't engage in work relations with two best friends because you're going to be left holding your nuts by yourself. Has there ever been a time I regretted having sexual relations with a coworker? Why, yes, there are several times, many times, to be matter of fact, that I regretted having sexual relations with a coworker. But I'm just going to give you one example. There was a time that I was working for a bank years back, feels like another lifetime ago. And I had a coworker that was a very nice young lady. We spoke pretty much every day. We were cordial with one another, but we didn't do anything outside of the workplace. Never exchanged numbers, never hung out, never really got too personal with one another. However, there was one night where most of my coworkers and we went out to a club in East Baltimore. Now, all the black people went. The white people decided not to go. Probably because it was in East Baltimore, and East Baltimore can be a little bit hood or ghetto or ratchet if you're a white person from, let's just say, Ellicott City or Columbia or something like that. For all my people in Maryland, y'all know what I'm talking about. Everybody else, just pull up a map, pull up Google, and, you might find these places. But I digress. We went out, we had drinks, we had an amazing time. All of us, I feel like, got super lit. And this was back when everybody was drinking Hennessy. So I probably had about 6, 7 Henny and Cokes, couple of shots of Henny, might have been, a Black and Mild or 2. This is back when I smoked my Black and Milds. Yeah, I said 2, T-E-W, for those of you who not from Baltimore. That's how we talk here. Anyway, we was lit. It was a great time. And she and I started dancing on the dance floor, but, it was just a little bit flirty. It was a little flirty, but that's it. I didn't expect anything to come from it. And I got to my car, and she needed a ride. However, she asked a coworker of mine to take her home, somebody she was friendlier with. And I guess he had something else lined up because he told her, "Nah, shorty, can't sit here."
Can't sit here.
Anyway, she still needed a ride. She looked a little desperate, and this was before the times of Uber. She would have had to call what is called a hack or a taxi cab, and it was 2, 3 in the morning. She might have been waiting out there for a while. So me being the nice guy that I am, the strapping young lad that I am, I put on my cape, and I came to save her. I said, "You can get in. I'll take you home." So I took her home. And, being a gentleman that I am, I walked her to a door. I was expecting to walk her to a door, make sure she got in safe because she was lit. I was a little lit too. And that be that. But one thing led to another. And the next thing you know, I'm waking up in her bed.
I got some cutty last
Now, I was
night.
expecting breakfast the next morning. But Shorty didn't even make me scrambled eggs, toast, bacon. An omelet would have been nice. I would have settled for some Frosted Flakes. I mean, she ain't make me shit, man. I had to go pick up breakfast from 7-Eleven the next morning. But anyway, we went to the office and we staggered the times that we walked in because, I took her to work naturally. Now, did I wear the same shirt? I feel like I wore the same shit the next day. I don't know if anybody noticed, but, I had to be smelling a little bit like last night, the next morning. But anyway, went to work and went about my daily duties. And she just kept coming over to my desk, smiling and winking. I think she laid a note on my table, like it was 3rd grade or something. I couldn't believe Shorty was acting so juvenile. I had to get to the point where I just had to approach her and let her know this ain't gonna work. One of those, it's not me, it's you, or it's not you, it's me. However that shit works, either way, it wasn't gonna work. So I had to let her down, and I did it as gently as possible, and I think I really upset her. But this is another one of those stories when smashing a coworker goes wrong. They've never ended well for me. Not for me, but for you. Maybe you have a better story than me. Maybe you started smashing a coworker and now you're married and you got 2, 3 kids. But me, I'm a single 40-year-old black man talking to myself at 3 in the morning about stuff that happened 10 years ago. Anyway, if you like my content, like, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the button, yada, yada, yada. Y'all know what to do. It's your boy AD. I hope y'all love me for a very, very long time. Pause.